Hello, Word. Welcome back to another episode. I'm your host, Alex, and I'm thrilled you're joining me today. Our word of the day is button. It's an A2 level noun, and it means a small control switch. Think about the little round things on your clothes, or the ones you press on your electronics. A button is a common and essential part of our everyday lives. Let's dive into what a button really is. As I mentioned, a button is a small, often round, object used to fasten clothing or as a control switch on a device. So when you're getting dressed and fastening your shirt, those are buttons. Or when you're turning on the TV with the remote, you're pressing a button. It's a pretty straightforward concept, right? Now, let's explore some synonyms. A word that's very similar to button, especially when we're talking about electronics, is switch. For example, instead of saying press the button to turn on the light, you could say flip the switch to turn on the light. Another similar word is control. The volume control is a button you can turn. Or we can say use the control to adjust the temperature. Notice how these words convey a similar idea of activating or controlling something. Okay, now let's look at some antonyms, words that have the opposite meaning. This can be a little tricky with a word like button, but let's think about it. If a button activates something, what deactivates it? One antonym could be release. I pressed the button, then had to release it. Another antonym can be disable. For example, the safety button should disable the machine in case of an emergency. We can also use unfasten in the context of clothing. For example, I unfastened the button on my coat because I was too warm. See how these words represent the opposite action of using a button? Button is incredibly versatile. It's not just about clothes and electronics. We use it in idioms and everyday expressions too. For instance, you might say, he's as cute as a button. This means he's very adorable. Or if someone is keeping a secret, you might tell them, keep it buttoned up, meaning keep it a secret. These are just a couple of examples of how button is used beyond its literal meaning. Let's look at some more example sentences. Please press the green button to start the machine. My shirt has 6 buttons down the front. The emergency button is located near the exit. She sewed a new button onto her coat. The elevator buttons were easy to reach. These sentences showcase different ways you can use button in your daily conversations. Think about how many times you interact with buttons every day. You might press a button on your alarm clock in the morning, fasten a button on your jacket before leaving the house, or press a button in an elevator. Buttons are everywhere, making them an essential part of our modern world. So, to recap, a button is a small control switch or fastener. We learned that synonyms like switch and control can be used in similar contexts, while antonyms like release and disable represent the opposite actions. We also explored common expressions and everyday uses of button. I hope you found this episode helpful and that you now have a better understanding of the word button. Thank you for tuning into Hello, Word. I really appreciate you spending your time with me. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. Your support helps others find the show so they can learn too. And now, for your homework, try to create your own sentence using the word button and share it in the comments below. I can't wait to see what you come up with. Until next time, keep learning and keep exploring the wonderful world of words.